In Dragon's Dogma 2, multiple quests need to be completed in order to unlock the Sorcerer Vocation and its two ultimate skills, Meteoran and Maelstrom. Along the way, we will also get the ultimate skill for the Mage Vocation and a powerful Mage Staff. There are certain important steps that must be done correctly for us to get all of the rewards, all of which will be covered in this guide. As usual, useful timestamps can be found in the video description. First, we'll cover how to unlock the Sorcerer Vocation. The necessary quest can be started at the Vocation Guild in the city of Vernworth. After asking Klaus to change vocation and seeing that the Warrior and Sorcerer vocations are both unavailable, we should be started on the Vocation Frustration quest. Speaking with the armorer at Roderick's Smithy will give us a lead on where to head next, and it's Trevo Mine, a short trek west of Vernworth. We will need to journey through the mine and find a two-handed sword as well as an archistaff, and I've already cleared out the enemies so that I can more quickly show the path to take. At the first fork, we'll go up and to the right. This will take us to a chamber with multiple enemies and an ornate chest containing the two-hander greatsword. From there, we can continue moving north into an even larger chamber. The first ornate chest here contains the Ranger's tights. More importantly, we can make our way down to the lower level of the cavern. There is a small opening in the northern corner that leads to the item we need, the Grievous Horns Archistaff. There's definitely a bit more to find in this mine, including a fairy stone, so feel free to look around. Once we've finished exploring, we'll make our way back to Vernworth. After making sure the two required weapons are in our Arisen's inventory, we can speak with Klaus at the Vocation Guild and present him the Archistaff and the Greatsword to make both the Sorcerer and Warrior vocations available for unlocking. All that's left is to spend the 150 Discipline points to unlock the Sorcerer Vocation. Next up is the ultimate skills or spells, and these will take some work to get. There are two ultimate skills for Sorcerer, which is Meteoran and Maelstrom. Both require us to get 5 Forsaken Texts or Grimoires. We will also need to make a forgery of each of these before giving them away, so make sure not to use them or give them up. There are some other steps outside of collecting the 5 Grimoires that will also need to be done, so we're going to cover everything in the most efficient order possible. To start, we'll want to make sure that we have the necessary quest, as it may be required to get at least one of the Grimoires. Starting from Melve, we can head north up into the mountainous forest region. We will eventually reach Aine's home, where we will most likely find an old woman, Aine, arguing with her granddaughter, Trisha. To start the quest, both Aine and Aino will need to be out of the house. They usually leave in the early morning hours, but if they are being stubborn, we can also pick them up with the right trigger, then gently place them outside, again with the right trigger. We can then quickly speak with Trisha before the grandparents come back, and she should ask us to find spell grimoires for her to study. This will start the Spellbound quest. With that quest in hand, let's get the first grimoire, Fulminous Shield. For that, we'll need to find a traveling merchant by the name of Dudley. He tends to travel between Melve and Vernworth, and can usually be found at one of those two locations. He sells the Fulminous Shield grimoire for 5,000 gold, and once again we do not want to use this or give it away. Next, we can go get 2 more of the required grimoires at the Waterfall Cave, which is a fairly short distance northeast of Melve, just beyond the Borderland campground. I cleared out the enemies of this cave to make showing the quickest path easier, but feel free to explore the cave more thoroughly on your own. We will want to take the east path at the first fork and continue moving east at the second fork. Next, the tunnel will curve north and lead to a 4-way intersection. If we move further north, we'll stumble into a chimera, which we do not need to fight. Instead, we'll head east once more, then follow this tunnel all the way to where it curves south and takes us to an upper level. On this upper level, if we follow the central tunnel west, it'll lead us to a large chamber. There are a few non-essential chests here and other valuables that you can pick up before looting the red and gold chest surrounded by books. We'll want to make sure that we are ready to either fight or flee before opening this central chest, as it will cause a wight to appear. We can just run away, but if we want to fight the wight, then holy magic is definitely recommended. I didn't really have that at my disposal, so I mostly relied on high frigor to get the job done. Meanwhile, lightning and fire spells both seem to be fairly ineffective on the wight. In any case, we should have gotten 2 required grimoires from the chest, Howling Blizzard and Nation's Death Knell. Now, as far as I know, these are the only 2 of the 5 grimoires that have duplicates elsewhere in the open world. For the first duplicate, a woman in the Nameless Village will trade her Howling Blizzard for the Fulminous shield, which we definitely don't want to do. Meanwhile, we can find a second copy of Nation's Death Knell in the Cenotaph of the Ancient Battleground, and this one has no strings attached. And just to clarify, we don't actually need to go get either of these duplicates. Next up, we'll go to Vernworth for the 4th Forsaken Grimoire as well as some necessary attire. For the Grimoire, we'll need access to Waltar the Magistrate. Shortly after first arriving in Vernworth, we should get a request to meet with Brant at the Star Drop Inn at night. There, he will give us a series of quests to complete. Picking the dialogue option, Tell Me of the Magistrate, will start the quest, The Caged Magistrate, and get us a jail key. With that quest, we can head south into the Noble Quarter and enter the Vernworth Castle area. A guard should talk to us as we approach, and will lead the way to a back entrance into the castle. A chest in there should contain the Marcher's armor set, which we can equip as a disguise to roam the castle freely. From here, we can move out of the castle and then towards the northern corner of the grounds. We should be allowed to enter the castle jail tower and make our way down. Waltar will be sitting on a bench in the first jail to our right. We can open the door with the jail key that Brant provided us and speak to him. Waltar will decline to leave with us until we find a suitable place for him to stay, one with books. However, if we speak to him enough times, he should eventually hand over the Towering Earth Grimoire. It's a good idea to complete the Magistrate quest on your own time, but covering it further is beyond the scope of this guide. Now, in order to get one of the ultimate skills for Sorcerer, we will need a set of courtly attire. I know of 3 ways to obtain this set of clothes, and the 2 easiest sources are in the Vernworth Castle grounds. For the first, make sure to equip the Marcher's armor set, then head into the main castle. We'll go to the audience chamber and climb the spiral staircase up to the 2nd floor. From there, we can move to Sven's chambers in the western corner of the castle. A chest in the secluded part of his room will contain the courtly tunic and breeches. As a side note, we'll want to quickly make our escape before the guards catch on and arrest us. A second option is a set of courtly clothes that can be found in one of the two chests in the back rooms of the Vernworth Hall, where masquerades are held. I don't remember which of these two chests it's in, but it should be in one of them. In any case, once we have the courtly tunic and breeches, we can make our way to the checkpoint rest town to get the final Forsaken Grimoire, as well as the first of our two ultimate skills. Also, before leaving, know that 30,000 gold will be required to create forgeries of all 5 grimoires, so plan accordingly. Now, there are two main options to reach the checkpoint rest town. The first is to walk there, and it is a fairly long distance away to the west of Vernworth. The second option, which is much quicker, is to take the West Vernworth Oxcart. There is a signpost in Bell where we can wait for the next cart to arrive. After sitting down and paying the small fee, we can doze off to skip the travel time, assuming we don't get ambushed. Upon first arriving at the checkpoint rest town, we will be bombarded by NPCs with various requests. The only one of these quests that I know to be time sensitive is called Pray for the Pack, and it's given by Morris. So, if you want to save Morris's son, make sure to ask around and go looking for him before continuing with this guide video. As a quick hint, follow the Moonglow flowers and petals. You should find Morris's son, Raj, in the Putrid Cave, which is east of the checkpoint rest town. Also, make sure to lead the boy back to town right away and don't take any detours. I believe this quest bugged out for me because I lost track of Raj before making it back to town. In any case, once all urgent matters have been attended to, we can make our way to Myrddin's home. Make sure to equip the courtly tunic and breeches, and only those pieces of clothing, beforehand, then take the southeast path through the checkpoint rest town. We'll turn east at Morris's apothecary and head up the path, which should eventually curve southwest and lead us to Myrddin's home. Upon approaching the front door, Myrddin will exit his home and appraise us. If we are not wearing the courtly attire, he will reject our entry. This actually happened to me the first time around, and the only way I was able to get Myrddin to come back out was by running back towards the northern entrance of the town. There, an NPC by the name of Timothy spoke to me about Myrddin's snobby expectations for others to dress up. After that happened, and perhaps after I rested or passed some time, I was able to return to Myrddin's house in my courtly attire and gain access. Once inside, we can speak with Myrddin to start his quest, the Sorcerer's Appraisal, which is basically identical to Trisha's quest. Now, to get the last Forsaken Grimoire, we'll want to exit Myrddin's home, then climb the crumbled stone wall and leap over to the balcony on the second floor. We can sneak into Myrddin's room from here and find the Let There Be Light grimoire on the nearby desk. We'll want to quickly leave Myrddin's home the same way we just snuck in, because he may turn hostile if he sees us. Before giving the 5 grimoires to anyone, we'll want to make a forgery of each. To do that, we'll want to head to Ibrahim's scrap store, which is on the west side of the checkpoint rest town. There, we can speak to Ibrahim, request a forgery, then pick one of the 5 grimoires to be forged. Each grimoire costs 6,000 gold to produce a forgery of, and Ibrahim requires about a day or so of time to create said forgery. Fortunately, there is a nearby bench that we can sit at and doze off to pass time without consuming any resources. I found that dozing off 4 or 5 times passed enough time for a forgery to be completed. Before moving on, we'll want to make sure that we have a forgery for each of the 5 grimoires. Then we can equip our courtly attire and return to Myrddin. We need to give the genuine grimoires to Trisha, so all of the forgeries need to go to Myrddin. Specifically, those grimoires are called Let There Be Light, where light is spelled L-I-T-E, Fulminous Shield, Nation's Death Knock, Hurling Blizzard, and Lowering Earth. You can also tell these are the forgeries by their item descriptions, where it says they cannot be used to cast magic. Once all 5 forgeries have been turned over to Myrddin, he will have a few words to say. After the fact, we will be rewarded with 11,000 gold, the Heiress Morpho Robe, and Myrddin's Chronicle. Using Myrddin's Chronicle from the items menu will teach our main character and pawn Maelstrom, the first of 2 ultimate skills for sorcerers, also known as a Sorcerer-Maister's teaching. Before moving on, we want to make sure to have enough camping supplies for at least 6 long rests and potentially more, at least if we don't want to spend time traveling back to an inn. In any case, for the second ultimate sorcerer skill, as well as the mage's ultimate skill, we will need to make our way back to Amy's home. We can use either a fairy stone or Oxcart to make the trip there a lot faster. Once again, we will need to get both Annie and Ano out of the house before speaking to Trisha. We can then hand over the 5 genuine grimoires to her. Those being Towering Earth, Howling Blizzard, Nation's Death Knell, Fulminous Shield, and Let There Be Light, where light is spelled L-I-G-H-T. We need to make sure the real grimoires are given to Trisha, otherwise, from what I've seen, we will fail this quest. After handing over the grimoires, Trisha will reward us with the turquoise ring, which I'm not sure has any real use or stat boosting properties. In any case, we can run over to the nearby campfire and rest 3 times overnight. Now, if the quest is not progressing for some reason, check the Vermin Charnel house to see if either Annie or Ano somehow died. If that is the case, they will need to be revived with a wake stone before the quest can be completed. In any case, once enough time has passed, we can return to Annie's house to find an out-of-control Trisha. The goal for this encounter is to run up to Trisha, which will cause her to teleport and expend some of her magic. Once we've caused her to teleport enough times, she will be momentarily exhausted. At that point, we can grab Trisha, which is right trigger on the Xbox controller, in order to safely get her under control. Annie will speak to us after, and will then need to pass 3 days' time once more, which is most quickly done through camping at the nearby campfire. After passing enough time, we should be able to return to Annie's home to find an awakened Trisha. She will reward us with the Cast Stone Staff, a fairly strong mage weapon. Then, if we speak to Trisha once more, she'll reward us with the Conjurer's Jottings, which can be used from the items menu to learn the Meteoran ultimate skill for sorcerers on both our main character and main pawn. In addition, if we speak with Annie a few times, she will commend our actions and reward us with the Enchanter's Almanac, which can be used from the items menu to learn the ultimate skill for mages, Celestial Pain. And again, this will be for both our main character and pawn. So long as the appropriate vocation is equipped, in this case Sorcerer, we can go to any vocation guild to equip our newly acquired skills. I personally find Maelstrom to be more consistently useful, but Meteoran is also extremely good when in wide open spaces. If you want to see how to get some really great weapons, including an electrically enchanted Archestaff, you can check out my previous video on how to learn Elvish and access the Sacred Arbor. That aside, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me in the comments where I'll do my best to help. If you want to see more great content, you can head over to my channel, and if you're new, consider subscribing. You're helping me feed my cat, her name's Marshmallow. Have a great day if you're here today, have a great Tuesday, and as always, thanks for watching.